LEINSTER Club Championship. Kilmacud Crokes 3-14, Naas 14 points. Kilmacud with 3 goals, one a cheeky one from Dara Mullen, a fantastic finish by Craig Diaz, and then a lovely finish by Hugh Kenny. Is the 9 points that was the difference between Crokes and Naas. What did you make of the Dublin champions?
Well, I didn't get to see this game. I did watch the highlights last night on TG Car, but I've seen an awful lot of Crokes this year for all the obvious reasons. Again, it didn't surprise me. Goals win games. It's like there's very few teams better at setting up those runners through the middle. And Craig Diaz does like to go on those surging runs through the middle and arrives on the ball at the right time. And it was a spectacular shot, a great finish, a fantastic finish. And then Hugh, took his goal well. You'd expect that from a forward of his quality. Dara, he got a bit of luck the way it opened up for him. But there was nothing lucky about how quickly he thought about it. Think of the amount of players who would just stand with that ball there for a few seconds and wait to either pass it or pop over to take point or not do what he did. I mean, that's the speed of thought there. That was the most impressive thing. It was an easy enough execution. But what was really impressive about it was how quickly he realized, this is on, rather than kind of and that's one thing Robbie Brennan loves, the manager of Crokes. I'm again fortunate enough to know Robbie pretty well. Very good player, very good manager. Crokes would be, I'll say, one of my clubs. You know yourself, if you're from the country and you live in Dublin long enough, you'll get absorbed into a Dublin club. Mine was Crokes. Now more on the hurling side, at the lowest possible level I might have. I'm not surprised Robbie's players were able to think that quickly, just given the kind of guy he was on the pitch and given the kind of coach that he is and the empowering manager that he is, that these guys take it on themselves. And that was a good example of it. But Dara, in any other county, would be your superstar inter-county player. But Dublin being Dublin and the talent they have and the depth of talent they have. We might see him feature more prominently with Dublin. But it was just a very cleverly taken goal. Kind of summed up that Crokes team. And it does help that they have Shane Walsh. People can, and look, I know people will say, well, it's your club, so of course you're going to defend it. Shane Walsh studies in Dublin. Shane Walsh lives in Dublin. So why shouldn't he play his club in football in Dublin? And it's an amateur sport, and I'm sure he'll go back to his home club. And I know it's tough for them to lose him, but clubs don't own these players. No one owns you as a player. It's not like in professional soccer or rugby where you're contracted. So I can't blame him for going off and playing football with Crokes for a season or two. It was a good performance from Crokes. Naas would be disappointed. They'd probably feel it was a bit more in them. But I think, look how close Crokes were to being All-Ireland champions last year.
Yeah.
And the thing I mentioned there about being clever and the decision making is kind of what lost them the game, the All-Ireland final. If they'd have fouled Kilmacud in the lead up to that goal, then they probably would have won that game. And that comes down to just players not making the right decision. Whereas maybe now,
I personally think if they had Mannion, I think they would have won that game.
Yeah, but they didn't, and but they could have still won it. You know, that's the frustrating thing. And even when that move was happening, cynical as it sounds, but you know yourself, it is about winning at that level. I was like, take them down, foul them, pull them back, but no.
And for anyone who'd be saying, you shouldn't be saying to foul people and stuff like that, Kilmacud, look at the way that, Kilmacud had no problem being cynical the other way around. Every team at every level, if a guy's going through, they foul him. I mean, that's the way that the game goes these days.